This year's been really warm. This is the second major snowstorm that we've gotten. In the beginning, we got a few snowstorms, but it melted within a few days, and then it kept going up to 40 degrees, which is unprecedented the previous 4 years. No, there's no way. We would just hit that wall, and since then, we just haven't gotten those snowfalls.
This is the pace. This snow is a lot easier than the wetter snow that I was trying to get for this one.
I've never understood people who, you'll meet people, you know, at the cash register or something in the winter, and they'll say, well, I hope winter's over soon, or I'm always like, why do you live in Vermont then? This is the best part of the entire beautiful year. For a few months, you know, the snow falls and then friction gives up its hold on the planet. You get to glide across its surface. It's magic. Utter magic.
You know, the experience of being on the trail, I think particularly the experience of being surrounded by the just mystical and transformative force of snow is similar in many ways to a broader value that just generally being in the outdoors can bring.
I think the topography of Vermont plays a role in that too. Everything is so close and compact. There's all these little pockets, you know, and sound doesn't travel that far, you know, through the valleys and over the ridgelines and things. And so you can feel, especially in the winter, really far away from it all, even though it's not a big state and you're not that far from a town probably.
And I think you take that general value proposition of the outdoors and then you get out on a place like the Catamount Trail, and it's like on steroids.
I've been saying I don't want this to be another athlete existential crisis story. Though that's still true, I'm starting to come to terms with the reality that time in the outdoors, especially when you're pushing yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally, will change you. I am excited to meet the person I'll become after this adventure, no matter how it turns out. Yeah,
Here.
My name is Torey Lee Brooks. I am trying to through ski the Catamount Trail, south to north. The Catamount Trail is a 317-mile Nordic backcountry ski trail, and it runs from the Massachusetts border, south of Vermont, to the Canadian border in the north of Vermont. It's a combination of different trail styles, but it's available for public use and to go for a really long ski.
Some places it's following old logging roads, some places it's going through a Nordic ski center, some places it's this narrow little single track that you wouldn't know existed unless there were some markers up on the trees.
It was established by a group of young people in the 80s that had a vision to celebrate a connection with the landscape that Nordic skiing could offer and that the Vermont landscape could offer in a really unique way.
So the Catamount Trail was started in 1984. It was really the dream of a few friends looking for backyard adventure. And
Stephen Bushy, journalist, cartographer, and outdoorsman, he's an avid recreational enthusiast, especially where cross-country skiing is concerned.
So Steve Bushy came up with this idea, like, hey, could we ski the length of Vermont?
The creation of a route that could revolutionize cross-country ski touring.
The Catamount Trail is essentially a second long trail, but for skiers.
An adventure that lasts
a couple of days. It isn't over in an afternoon. It's something that anybody really who has the desire to do it could do it.
And then subsequent to that, founded the Catamount Trail Association in an effort to make the route that they had skied official. But that sort of sense of like supporting adventure close to home, building community through skiing has really sort of remained central to the organization and our mission.
I have bony ankles, so I'm going with the pre-ankle tape in case they rub, and we're gonna be breaking in boots a little bit as we go. So wish my feet luck, and we'll see how many toenails I end up with. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, there's a very faint end of cat. So once I start, I'm just gonna keep moving. Yeah, just sprint it out. Okay, we're gonna go skiing.
Go get them.
The Long Trail was the first really long-distance hiking trail in the world, dating back to the 19th century in Vermont. But the Catamount Trail was such an inspired idea because it's the kind of winter version of the same. It was just complete magic to be able to go these places that you could sort of see on the map, but if someone hadn't done the work of kind of laying out the trail and getting landowners to agree and stuff, would just have always been terra incognita on that map. And instead there you were able to cut right through it.
Well, the Catamount Trail is a unique trail. I mean, it shares a lot of qualities with some other long-distance trails across the country in that it's a statewide trail. So it's really a landscape trail.
It's unique in that it's a winter-only trail. It's designed for skiing and snowshoeing, and it's the longest backcountry ski trail in North America.
So not only is it a beautiful trail, it's a beautiful idea. This thing that we hold in common. Americans aren't so good always at relinquishing any of their rights to property and, but instead of putting up a no trespassing sign, people who put up a trespassing sign, come make use of this remarkable place.
First GoPro selfie video. So day one, look at this cute little bridge. Morning of day two, get to go under a log. Say long walks on the beach. At the reservoir. I'm working a little harder than I would like to be. I think that's the case when you're breaking trail, which I knew was a big possibility when it snowed a ton. And I'm happy for the snow, but it's a lot more work. Oh boy. Thread in the needle. Whoa! Oh! Glad I got that on film.
The way the snow is falling is definitely changing. It feels like instead of consistent snow, we get these kind of extreme freeze-thaw cycles and like larger storms, but it's less frequent.
Snow was super sticky all morning. So it was just like stuck to my skis and the pulk for like the first 4 hours of the day, and I was breaking trail. I was putting in a lot of work today.
that many miles in nature is exciting. And seeing how much the Catamount Trail Association and different landowners and organizations have come together to make that trail. Doing trail maintenance and coming up with new routing for trails, I wanted to experience it and see it for myself.
Because it's a winter-only trail, it can go through all of these areas that you can't access in the summer. They'd never let you build a hiking trail through some of the places that we can put a ski trail because of the relative impacts of a ski trail versus a hiking trail or a mountain bike trail, and the relative impacts of winter use versus summer use. We're just able to access some areas that are really unique and cool. You know, we go through some old growth forest, which is really rare in Vermont. You know, 90% of the state was deforested 120, 130 years ago, and so there's not a lot of old growth, and we go through some of that, and it's in these really wet, seepy areas. There's hermit thrush habitat up there. It's just really cool, and you couldn't put a hiking trail through there. The terrain wouldn't work, but you can ski through it. The places you're able to go and the way in which you can just explore the woods, there's such a freedom to it.
So this must be an old railway cut that's now kind of grown in, and you've got some logs, got some ice falls. It's definitely also a stream bed, so hopefully I don't fall in, but it's really beautiful. Wow.
As you're skiing along the Catamount Trail and looking 100 feet in each direction along the entire trail alignment, the trees within your view are sequestering 1.4 million metric tons of carbon, or 3,200 metric tons per year. And in total, that's an equivalent to distance traveled by 8 million cars.
So climate change is the biggest thing that humans have ever done, and by far. Raising the temperature of the earth means changing the way that everything that happens on the face of the earth happens. It's introducing huge amounts of extra energy into a closed system.
At a certain point, you run up against the threshold, a physical threshold that is undeniable and insurmountable. Ice melts at 0 degrees Celsius. It will melt at 32 degrees Fahrenheit. No matter how much technology we put into that, you cannot stop physics.
It doesn't really matter what you believe or not. It's coming. It's physics, you know. Physics is immature. It doesn't compromise. It doesn't meet us in the middle. It doesn't understand that we're in a tough economic stretch, whatever. It just does what it's going to do. So our job is to meet the bar that it sets.
I am Dr. Elizabeth Burakowski. I'm a researcher here at the Institute for the Study of Earth, Oceans, and Space at the University of New Hampshire. So here at UNH, I study winter climate, specifically in the northeastern United States. I look at how it changed in the past and what we can expect to see in the future. We want to know, when we lose snowpack, how does that affect forest health? How does that affect ski resorts? And how does that affect winter recreational opportunities? And there's the scientific component, looking at the data, and then there's the lived experience. And with the winter recreation industry, what we know is that they match up really nicely.
It just feels like the swings within the ski seasons are so extreme. The last couple days, we're just watching people get stuck.
Outdoor recreation is obviously a hugely important economic driver for a place like Vermont, but I think it also has a huge psychological component. That's like who we are. It's why a lot of people are here. You know, and so if you couldn't do it, it wouldn't just be that you were losing money. It'd be like you were losing the point of being here, of being alive, of whatever it is.
So we had relatively stable climate through the 50s into the 60s, and then a rapid uptick in winter temperatures, such that winters in New England are the fastest warming season that we see. So in New England, we've seen changes. We've seen closures of major resorts and small resorts as well. Across the US, we've lost 600 plus ski resorts since the 1950s. There's about 500 remaining now. And a lot of those that survive are the bigger ones. The ones that we've lost are the smaller ones that maybe only had a single rope tow or a double chairlift. But those were the affordable ones. Those were the ones where you could take your kid on a Saturday afternoon for $10 a ticket. And when those are lost to the community, there's a community center that ends up getting lost as well. It's not just dollars and cents, it's community.
The trail's power comes from the relationships that are built by getting out on it between people, and the community that's built by getting out and skiing and maintaining the trail and all these sorts of things. And so we work really hard to ensure that there's sustainable and equitable access to Vermont's backcountry is our mission.
Many months out of the year you can go hiking, on certain trails, or you can ride a bike on certain trails. But I think the fact that this is a trail that's really dictated by its ability to hold its users. It's this ephemeral and fleeting quality that again goes back to that tying into a force that's larger than yourself, and I think part of what creates a really transformative experience. Like, you're on the edge, not knowing that today will work or not work to be out there.
Good morning. It is cold. My boots are frozen. Day 7? Day 7. It snowed last night, as you can see. It sounds like I'm in for quite the day. These are my socks from yesterday. This is really hard. Find friends who find you on the trail, bring you coffee and pastries.
Middlesex's finest.
Oh, this is the way you're supposed to ski the Catamount. Things have vastly improved. This whole section, almost this whole section, is beautifully groomed snowmobile trails next to a river.
Well, one of the things that makes me optimistic about the future of the Catamount Trail is knowing how uniting the issue of parks, trails, and outdoor places and public land are for American people. People vote in support of nature. A few years ago, a really important landmark legislation was passed called the Great American Outdoors Act. And this provided permanent and significant funding for conservation and outdoor recreation in America. And it was something that was one of the few bipartisan pieces of legislation. So, at this time today where a lot of us are wringing hands about climate change and about partisanship, we know that the experience of getting outdoors, however many places it looks, like the Catamount Trail and other places like neighborhood parks, it's just something that people get behind. And I think people really understand that this is about healthy people, healthy communities, and a healthy world. And people are willing to show up for that and vote for it.
The most important thing an individual can do is be a little less of an individual and join together with others in movements large enough to change the political and economic ground rules.
Because 73% of the emissions that we see come from energy production that is outside of our hands. Your individual actions are very unlikely to move the needle, unfortunately. So recognizing that these types of solutions need to be supported by government action. They need to have policies and initiatives to support them and to make that transition away. That's what we're up against.
And so I'm deeply optimistic, and I think that the more we can hear stories of people being agents of change, goal-oriented, hopeful change makers, folks like Tori, people like those that founded the Catamount Trail, and all the people that love it, we're gonna meet the challenge ahead. We have to.
We can't do it alone. Is it possible to do it alone? Maybe, under the right conditions with a lot of luck and skill and fitness and preparedness. But we have much more success by breaking up the challenge into bite-sized chunks and sharing the experience with those around us, relying on their help, their excitement, and their support. Either way, the miles pass, and soon enough we find ourselves at the Canadian border or with a healthier planet that we pass down to our children, looking back at how far we've come with awe and pride. Which challenge do we tackle next?
Life's too short to get it all right. First time around, you better not fuck up. Wanna be born again, I want a second chance. Win or lose, it should be worth the fight. Heaven or hell, oh you better not fuck up. Been through enough fire, I've heard all your life. 'Cause this time around,
I feel like I'll be sad like the minute I sit in the car. I'm walking home. Downhill on groomed trails. Is the best.
I'm starting to think I'm allergic to something. Either that I'm eating or that I'm using on my face, because I have never seen my eyes so puffy. And this is now happening every morning. I feel okay for the most part. Tired.
Yes. What's up, Tori?
Wait a minute. I've been here before. Woo! Oh.
The real star of the show here is my Chef Boyardee can that I put in among the boiling water. Finally happened. I just dropped my pulk into that river.
I have skied and walked 300 miles. Sit on whatever I want.
There you go. Hey. Oh, so proud of you. Holy moly. Unbelievable.
Thank you.